Good morning, everybody. Jim Feist and Hank Goldberg here in Las Vegas. Of course, yesterday was a terrible day for Kobe Bryant and all the people on that helicopter. Hank and I were talking about it. 9 people died. Terrible tragedy. Our prayers go out to the family. It's been filling the news for sure. And Hank, good morning.
Good morning, Jim. I think everybody has a Kobe memory. He was a modern day superstar, and like I said, people who follow the sport of or didn't follow the sport of basketball, you probably remember when he scored 81 points, or his last game. The way he went out, scoring 60. He was a personality who had a lot going on. 2 years ago, he won an Academy Award. He had his life pretty well planned out. He has a daughter who's going to be a great basketball player, who he was bringing along. His life was very well mapped out. He was a very bright, personable guy. I guess he was as popular an athlete as we have in the modern era. Just a terrible tragedy, and they're still investigating what the cause was. I have no idea how to get into that, but just sad. And you have to feel for his widow and 3 remaining children. Just horrible.
There were 9 people died in that accident, and there was one. I don't know any of the names or anything, but there was one.
In addition to Kobe and his daughter, there was a revered local coach, one of the winningest high school coaches, I think, in the area. They were on their way to a basketball game.
Yeah, and there was a mother and father and a child that were also on that, doing the same thing, and that they all died as well. It's just a terrible day, and the NBA, I don't know what they could have done, but they were criticized for playing yesterday, but I don't know how they could cancel the games if people were already in the seats in a lot of those games. But I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. But that was a
I saw people interviewed with the airline regulation business who said that this was a very, very safe aircraft, double, with twin engines, but they were flying in intense fog. But I have no idea what the cause was and what's the difference.
Well, whether you're dealing with humans or machines, they have flaws. We know all of us as humans have flaws, and machines have flaws, and we make bad decisions at times, and sometimes we pay a heavy price. But it's hard to talk about sports in betting and when this is going on, because it takes everybody's emotions to another level. We do have the big game. The line is level out. It's Kansas City mostly won. The 1.5s have sort of disappeared. The weather looks pretty good down there.
I don't predict weather in South Florida. I lived there long enough where, when you're on the coast like that, wind is a big factor in that stadium. I've been to a lot of games there. Almost every game that's ever been played there until last year. And rainstorms can come up just like that. I would bet you that it will rain next Sunday at some point during the game. But there's also very high winds that come in from the east. That's the open end of the stadium. Could affect the passing game.
Yeah, I'm not going to bet against you, Hank, because that's not very profitable to do that normally. a lot of the props, and there's like 400 props out there. It's just incredible task to go through them all. Are there any that stand out to you that think there's an edge?
Yeah, I saw a few. Who's going to be the MVP? First person to catch a pass. I think I think that the first scorer for Kansas City will be a field goal, because I think Andy Reid, coaches in this game are very conservative, and I don't think that Kansas City is going to be going for it on 4th and 2. I think they're going to take the points where they can get them. I think the MVP could come from one of the San Francisco players on defense. I think that I think the number of sacks or a number of interceptions in the game could be limited because of the reluctance of San Francisco to throw the ball. That's another prop that I looked at. I think that I like the under in the game. I think that Kansas City starts off slow. I think I like San Francisco in the first half. That's about it for right now. But I'm not interested in the anthem, or I don't think you can bet the anthem anymore. They don't take that. There are certain bets that you can only do offshore, but they don't take anymore here. That's one of them, is the length of the anthem. The coin flip is just, it's a coin flip. Who cares? But that's a lot of money is bet on that, apparently.
Well,
by the way, just to talk about the betting for the moment, I had dinner Saturday night with a couple of odds makers, and apparently the money has been very significant on this game. People wonder, there was some speculation that a lot of people are going to come into town from the West Coast who would bet San Francisco. The odds makers who I talked to, one of them, who's a very knowledgeable guy, Art Manteris, who's been in the business a long time, Art said that, and then he said this is just his opinion because he's seen nothing in the betting that would indicate this so far, but he thinks that the perceived difference in quarterbacks will move the game in Kansas City's favor, and he wouldn't be surprised if the game became Kansas City by 3 at game time. But he said that's just his opinion. And he said that he has seen nothing in the betting that is pushing the game that way right now. Chuck, didn't you agree with him? Chuck has been advocating that the game could be pick'em at game time. It's interesting to have two people who work for the same company. And Art's, by the way, not moving the line. He goes with what the public is betting. I think they had a $75,000 bet the other day on San Francisco. But it's interesting because the betting so far, wherever you go, has not moved the number significantly. The total is the number that has moved, and there is one place where the total went to 75.5, and that's one place in town, and that's the place, the Circa. They had the total up to 75.5. A couple of people told me off the record those people don't know what they're doing.
Well, I don't know those people, so I can't say that. But
I don't know them either. But I just talked to different odds makers who I respect, and they told me that those people, the guy has an opinion, and he moves the game on his opinion, and they don't do very well based on this guy's opinion.
I know I don't know, I'm not going to mention names or anything, but the owner is I guess he's very wealthy, and he's done a hell of a job with his hotel, and he's got a lot of plans, and maybe he's just...
Well, he doesn't make the line.
He might be just trying to create interest, but who knows? I would bet it under 55.5. I think it's too high.
I think 54.5 is too high. I think that this game, a couple of years ago, in one of the New England games, there was no scoring in the first and third quarters. Of course, last year there was no scoring at all.
I was going to mention about the quarters. In the first quarter, everybody's a little bit nervous. The coaches are a little bit nervous. Everybody is capable of just kind of being cautious and working into the game. The total on the first half, or the total on the first half is 10 over minus 19, over minus 25, over minus... I'm looking at the board here. And I would bet that under. I like under 10 in the first quarter. And then it'll open up second and third quarter. But like you just said, we have patterns like that happen. Like, for example, the fourth quarter is 14.5 as the total. And the second quarter is 16.
I think that's low.
You're probably right. The second quarter is 16.5. So you can see the first and third are the lowest totals for the game. I'm looking at this sheet here.
I will say this, in breaking down the game, and when I worked with Jimmy, the Greek, and how he used to break down the game, there was, quarterbacks were very important. He looked at defenses. He looked at a line play. He looked at running game. He looked at the different areas, and he looked at coaching staffs. The coaching staff, the enemy gets a lot of attention, but I was listening to a guy who's very well schooled in this sort of thing. San Francisco has a tremendous coaching staff. Now, I know that the defensive coordinator got a lot of attention. The offensive line coach for San Francisco is great. The running back coach, who's 70 years old, has been in the business, obviously, a long time. He is the best offensive backfield coach in the business. This comes from other coaches. This staff, Lynch, has done a tremendous job in putting this staff together. And off the backfield coach, the offensive line coach, the defensive staff, special teams, they are loaded in every area with superior coaches. Spagnuolo gets a lot of attention with Kansas City, yet they are very weak in run defense, and they've got some issues on the defensive side of the ball.
That's good information. I don't know that anybody has any better context than you would. Yeah, it's been. These two teams rose to the top, but they were right there. And if Mahomes didn't get hurt part of the season, they would have put up some different numbers. But it is the defensive side of the ball that San Francisco seems to have a big edge in. And I was looking at the offensive line play of Kansas City and the defensive line play of San Francisco, and I really, really believe that because of Mahomes' mobility, he has covered up some of the flaws in that offensive line that may not work if they can contain Mahomes from getting outside, which would be a problem because he could gain a lot of yardage with his feet. It's one prop that I did like or do like is Mahomes rushing prop. I like that over. Without
him, they don't have a rushing game, and the other factor there is San Francisco can get away with 4 defensive linemen, and they'll move those guys around, much the way the Giants did against Buffalo when they moved LT around, and Buffalo and Buffalo didn't know where he was going to be from play to play. And San Francisco will do this with their with Nick Bosa. He'll be inside at times. He'll be outside at times. And they have that outstanding middle linebacker who could be used to spy Mahomes and make sure he doesn't get loose. And then they can drop 5 or 6 guys back into coverage. I made a bet on Melrose to intercept the pass in the game. And and you can get a nice price on that.
I was just going to say, did you get a good price? It's got to be got to be a darn good price. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that'll pay off well, definitely. Well, Hank, like I said, we.
I just wanted to bring up. By the way, you had a long shot who won the $1 million race, but Baffert, we gave that horse out on service, won the $3 million Pegasus Stakes, and we mentioned the fact that there was another speed horse in there who actually ran second, Dale Roman's horse, and we caught that exacta for $73.
Whoa, nice.
The Tax didn't run a very good race, and the favorite who we took a position against, who was did not go off at 7-5, by the way. But I think that horse ran. There was a morning line favorite who wound up 4th. So, but I did not have the horse. A friend of mine from California bet that horse who cost me the pick 6.
No.
I had a very good day otherwise, but that horse was 11-1.
Wow.
Who won the Philly race? Chad Brown's horse, who he liked, didn't get off well. He got slammed out of the gate, got in a position, and then got cut off again, and did not do well in the race. And so I did not have that horse. I wound up running second, third, and fourth. So that was a tough beat for me. I could have had the pick 6 and the pick 5. But that's the way it goes. Also, Wednesday, I'll tell you one quick thing I want to discuss real quick. Odds to win the college basketball championship. I defy anybody to pick a winner there. Well, you've got teams like Baylor, like Dayton, who's 12-1. Michigan State. I had a big play on Michigan State this weekend, and Michigan State won easily. They won by 20 points. I gave 3. I thought they would come back and win big this week. Izzo's tremendous second time around. There were teams that beat him, and but Kansas right now is 7-1. I don't think they're great. Gonzaga at 10-1 is a real deal. They just keep crushing teams. But you got teams like Baylor, Dayton, Seton Hall is very good. Louisville is up and down. West Virginia is very good. Auburn lost 2 games. Now they're bounced back. Kentucky, you can get Kentucky for 20-1 right now. I'd take a shot with them the way Calipari brings teams along. Wednesday's card, Michigan State's playing Northwestern. You got Seton Hall playing DePaul. That's a good game. By the way, my Monmouth team keeps winning. LSU Alabama is an interesting game. Arkansas, South Carolina, Penn State, Indiana, San Diego State, who only beat UNLV by 4 points, but they're still rolling along. A lot of good matchups on Wednesday.
Yeah, you're right. Not too much today, but Wednesday looks like a great card. You, by the way, congratulations. You had a fantastic week in college hoops. You really, really, really well. I slumped a little bit over the weekend, but I had a good week going in. But you just kept going. You just banging out the winners, Hank.
Well, yesterday I had a big day. I had California over Stanford. That was really a good pick. I had Creighton over Xavier. Those were in the later games. I really had a good day yesterday. And by the way, I had in the golf tournament, my Irish guy did not. He started bogey yesterday. He came back, got into contention, and the Australian just ran away with the tournament. But he only won by a couple of strokes, it turned out. But my guy wound up third.
Well, congratulations on a great week, horses, sports, and we'll talk again Wednesday, Hank.
Yep, it should be a good week. There's a golf tournament in Arizona. I would tell you real quick. I remember we were in New Orleans and they had to delay the start of the Super Bowl because the golf tournament ended in a tie and they had a playoff. And my best friend Mike Pro was the producer of the pregame show, and they couldn't get on the air until, and he had all these immaculate plans. He couldn't get on the air until the golf tournament was over, and he threw his book up against the wall and broke the window in the studio. He was so ticked off. Oh, never saw him lose it his whole life.
Oh my God! Wow, that's a great story. Hank, thank you very much. Have a great day. We'll talk Wednesday morning.
All right, Jim. Have a good day.
Thank you. Go to jimfeist.com for Hank's plays. He's been red hot, and my plays will be up there as well. I had an 18-3 run in college hoops, and then over the weekend, life sometimes gets in the way, and a couple things happened. I ended up with a bad weekend, I should say, 2-5, and but we'll bounce back. We still follow the game and work hard, but we just bumped in the road. So that's a pretty good record, 20-8 over those, last 28 plays. So we'll bounce back, start a new streak, and Hank, of course, is red hot, and you don't want to miss his plays. So go to jimfeist.com to get all that right now. Thank you.